Hi everyone, I'm Fred from EcoVerdi. Welcome back to our RV solar system build series. There's a big difference between having a nice wiring diagram or understanding the theory and actually knowing how to put everything together in the real world. In this video, I'll walk you through step by step how to build this super reliable beginner-friendly 12-volt system, the same setup I personally use in my own RV. We'll also cover some critical safety topics, including how to properly size fuses and choose the right cable sizes. By the end of this video, you'll be able to apply everything you've learned to your own RV conversion project. Let's get started. Before we start the installation, let's take a quick look at the components in this system and how everything works together. There are two common ways to charge your battery. One is using shore power and the other is charging with solar. In this setup, we'll be charging the battery using solar panels. Once power comes in from the solar panels, it first goes through this 20 ampere MPPT charge controller. This is the brain of the solar charging side of the system. The controller converts the power from the panels into the correct charging voltage and safely charges this 314 ampere hour lithium iron phosphate battery. The stored energy in the battery is then delivered through this inverter to power your loads. You'll also notice several fuses and breakers placed throughout the system. I'll explain how those work in more detail later. In my RV, this system typically powers the interior lights, refrigerator, water pump, USB outlets and fans. Since this 1000 watt PCS comes with two AC outlets, I use a power strip whenever I need additional outlets. If you'd like to check out the components I used in this setup, I've included links to everything down in the description below, so you can take a closer look later. Here's a quick tip before you install everything in your RV. Before doing the final installation, I highly recommend assembling all of your components on a temporary mounting board first, just like this one. It's a great way to turn theory into hands-on experience and actually see how the system works. One of the best ways to learn and understand a 12-volt system. You can test your appliances during the build process and experiment with different layouts before committing to the final setup. And if you make your temporary panel the same size as the space available in your RV, you may even be able to transfer the entire setup directly into place later, saving time during the final installation. Before we start wiring the components together, let's talk about one of the most important safety topics in any 12-volt build. Fuses. Rule number 1. Always check the user manual for each component first. Some devices include built-in fuse protection, while others require external fuses or breakers, depending on the wiring setup and load configuration. For this system, the 20 ampere charge controller requires external circuit protection, but the correct fuse or breaker size should be selected based on the product manual and your actual system parameters. The 1000 watt PCS already includes internal protection. Any additional external fuse protection should always be selected and installed according to your specific system design and cable specifications. A simple rule of thumb is any positive cable connected directly to the battery should have a fuse installed as close to the battery as possible. When sizing fuses, don't treat the entire system as one circuit. Each section should be protected separately. For the connection between the solar panels and the MPPT controller, the fuse size depends on the maximum current that the panels may produce. In this setup, two 100 watt lightweight solar panels are connected in series, producing a short circuit current of around 5.74 amps. Taking into account the safety margin for real-world conditions, a solar variability, this section can use either a 10 ampere fuse or a 10 ampere circuit breaker. For the connection between the battery and the 1000 watt power system, we size the protection based on maximum input current. Assuming a minimum battery voltage of 10.5 volts and an inverter efficiency of about 90%, the maximum current is approximately 106 amps. After applying design margin, the current comes to roughly 132 amps, so we selected a 150 ampere fuse. You can apply the same method to every major section of your system. Calculate the expected current, apply an appropriate safety margin, and then choose the protection device. You may also notice that I use breakers in some places instead of traditional fuses. Both provide circuit protection, but breakers can also act as switches, making maintenance and storage more convenient. For high current circuits, many builders still prefer fuses because they often respond faster and offer a simpler protection setup. Earlier we covered how to size fuses for the main power circuit, but if your RV also includes 12-volt DC appliances, each individual load circuit should have its own dedicated fuse protection as well. For example, if the total current for a load circuit is 30 amps, I would choose a 40 ampere fuse for that branch after allowing for an appropriate safety margin. This way each circuit is protected independently and faults in one load won't affect the rest of the system. Alright, now that we have all of our components, breakers and fuses ready, we can start assembling the panel. When it comes to panel layout, there isn't one single correct way to do it. You just need to follow a few general rules of thumb. First, keep high current circuits as short as possible. There are 3 reasons. Safety. Longer cables increase the risk of overheating. Energy loss. Shorter cables reduce unwanted voltage drop and wasted power. And cost. You can save money by using less large gauge cable. Second, think about cable management. Visualize how each cable will run from one component to another, and aim for a clean layout that makes the wiring easier to secure and organize. At the end of the day, the right layout is the one that fits all of your components into the available space while keeping the system safe, clean and easy to work on. Now that we have determined the protection size for each section of the system, it's time to choose the cables. Cable sizing is one of the most important safety steps in any 12-volt electrical build, but fortunately the process is actually very simple. All you need is a wire sizing calculator. Enter the required values and it will give you the recommended cable size. First, determine the current for that circuit. We already calculated those values in the previous step. Next, determine the cable length. Keep in mind that cable length means the total combined length of both the positive and negative cables in that circuit. Since all the components on this panel are mounted close together, most of our cable runs stay within 2 meters. Then select your target voltage drop, generally 3% or less. One important thing to remember: in a 12-volt system, undersized cables are one of the most common causes of overheating and voltage drop. So if you're unsure, it's usually better to choose a slightly larger cable. And just like everything we've covered today, once you lay out all the components and start making connections, the process becomes much easier than you might expect. Alright, now it's time to connect all the components. We'll start with the connection between the charge controller and the battery. First, we need to make our first crimp terminal on the end of the correctly sized cable, the size we already determined earlier. For larger cables, the safest method is to use a dedicated cable stripper. Once the insulation is removed, it's time to create a strong crimp connection. Use a crimping tool to compress the terminal 2 or 3 times until the connection feels solid. Then do a pull test. If it doesn't move, you're good to go. Before installing the finished cable between the components, protect the transition area between the terminal and insulation using heat shrink tubing. If you don't have heat shrink, several layers of electrical tape can also work. Alright, now we know how to make a strong, reliable connection, so it's time to put everything together. Let me walk you through my wiring sequence. Step 1. Connect the charge controller to the battery. Use a 10 American wire gauge cable. Connect the positive output of the controller to the battery positive through a 30 ampere fuse, and connect the controller negative directly to the battery negative. Step 2. Connect the inverter. Use a 2 American wire gauge cable. Connect the inverter positive to the battery positive through a 150 ampere fuse, and connect the inverter negative directly to the battery negative. Step 3. Connect a 12-volt fuse box. Based on the sizing we calculated earlier, the main DC circuit uses a 40 ampere fuse. Run an 8 American wire gauge cable from the battery positive through this 40 ampere fuse and connect it to the fuse box main positive input. The positive terminal of the load is connected to the positive terminal of the fuse box, and the negative terminal is connected to the main negative terminal of the circuit. Alright, everything is connected. Now for the most exciting part, powering up the system. The controller screen is on. It's showing the battery type as lithium iron phosphate. The solar input indicator isn't active yet because we haven't connected the panels.
Alright, now the solar input light is on. The system is running and charging the battery. We connected the load and it started working. If you have any questions about applying this setup to your own RV, leave them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them and help give you the confidence to tackle your own build. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.